Hello guys and welcome to Monza at night for some racing on Assetto Corsa Competizione on the PlayStation 5. Tonight we are racing in Formula Racing League's Arrive, Drive and Survive Thursday. It's a series running on Thursday evenings at 8:30 PM and it's for anyone who can't commit to regular slots for league racing but still wants to take part and can just turn up and drive if they're available on a Thursday evening. Heading out on track to begin our qualifying session, and we're in the Ferrari 488 Evo tonight because normally I drive the BMW M4 but it's not particularly strong at Monza and you can get a fair bit quicker with a car with a bit more top speed. So we've chosen the Ferrari. I'm not that familiar with the Ferrari, so setup wise it's still a little bit trial and error, but we'll see what we can do and try to set a good lap time. Temperatures here are quite high, so I'm not expecting the lap times to be extremely quick. So as we cross the line then to complete our first flying lap, we do a 1:49.2, but then straight away on the following lap I gain quite a lot of time, and as we cross the line, sticking over to the right hand side for the shortest run possible, I do a 1:48.5. So at this point in the session it's quite a bit faster than second place, 1.3 seconds ahead, but I was one of the first to leave the pit lane, so there will be a few more people setting laps very soon. So 30 seconds to go in qualifying and we're 1/10 up on this lap, and we just need to keep it together through Parabolica, try and get the power as soon as possible and see if I can improve my time a little bit. And it looks like we are going to go about a tenth faster as we cross the line, and we do a 1:48.4. So that's going to be my final lap for this session. 8 tenths currently ahead of AMS. Right at the end of the session though, BRG Stereotypy, I think that's how you pronounce it, goes second, 7 tenths back, with AMS 8 tenths behind in third. So starting the race in first place then, and we have an unguided formation lap. So I've done all of the lap at a sort of moderate pace, and it's actually been quite good because we've been able to get the tyres up to temperature and pressure quite well. So coming through Parabolica then, and you can see there's no guide to tell me how fast to go, and like I said, I've never done one of these before, so I'm not really too sure what to do. It's probably not a good idea to be starting on pole position when you've never done an unguided start on this game before. So we're going to come up towards the line then. There's no kind of indicator telling me how fast I need to go, so once I see the line I'm just going to kind of floor it and see what happens. We do get a green light very shortly after, but that has given us a bit of a head start on the rest of the field then. So yeah, I feel like I maybe got a bit of an unfair advantage then, but I wasn't really sure what I was doing, so at least I know for next time. So down into turn 1, and we get cleanly through there with a nice big gap behind us. I haven't done much practice in this car with heavy fuel loads, so we're just going to have to work it out lap by lap and see how the car handles. So this race requires 1 tyre change pit stop, and you can refuel during that pit stop as well. So we started the race with 43 litres of fuel, I believe, which should take us to exactly halfway through the race, and then we'll get a new set of wheels and refuel up till the end of the race at the first pit stop. So coming through the first Lesmo then, and we get a little bit of a tank slapper on there, but managed to save it before it goes into anything more serious. And then out of the second Lesmo we can see the Bentley behind us is putting quite a lot of pressure on us at the moment. I know I'm going to be fast in the straight line because I'm running very low wing, but it looks like the Bentley might just have a little bit more grip through this part of the track. So going into Ascari, we take that quite nicely actually and get a good exit coming through the final part. But you can see the Bentley is very close to the rear of me, and I haven't done any running with any cars in my mirror, so I was starting to find this quite distracting. Having the car in the mirror, the headlights, you're constantly looking at those headlights and you're very aware it's there, and we go very deep into Parabolica, and that's going to give the Bentley a chance up the inside. We still have first position, so we're going to be effectively drag racing down into turn 1, and we're going to see exactly just who is the fastest car in a straight line then. So it looks like we've got quite a bit of advantage on the straight, but I didn't move over to the inside to cover off this move, and I kind of left the door open a little bit there, keeping it very clean as we go through the chicane, but the Bentley just has me on the acceleration out of turn 1. So I was very frustrated with myself for losing that position, and just recently I've been coming second place in everything. I came second in my last Formula Racing League race, I came second in real life in the 24 Hours of Anglesey, and I really don't want to come second today, but you can see there he's just run a little bit deep and manages to avoid that sausage curb, and we're unable to get past. So it looks like we're going to have a good race on our hands with this Bentley, and you can see here going through the Lesmos we're not quite able to take as much speed as the car in front, which tells me that he's clearly running a little bit more downforce than I am. And this is going to be quite frustrating because going through Ascari is probably the part of the track that requires the most downforce, and that's where we're going to be losing the most time. And we don't want to be losing too much time before the back straight and Parabolica, because then we might not be in a position to go for an overtake move going down into turn 1. And you can see here just how much time we've lost. The Bentley running out wide there, 2 wheels in the gravel, but we're now 9/10ths back, so this is going to be very difficult. How much time can we gain on the back straight and through Parabolica, making sure we hit our braking point this time, and we do that correctly. So getting a good exit from the corner. You can see we have gained a little bit of time, it looks like, but yeah, we're quite far back. We're definitely not going to be going for a move from this position. Jumping ahead to the second chicane then, and the Bentley goes in a little bit too hot, hits the sausage curb and has to miss the second part of the chicane, and that gives us a really good opportunity to close right up onto the back of him now. But again, it's going to be difficult going through the Lesmos to make any kind of progress, because he's able to just take a little bit more speed than we can and get a little bit sideways as we go through the second Lesmo and onto the back straight. But it should be close enough to pick up a bit of a slipstream now as we head up towards Ascari, and I really just need to make sure I nail this corner here. But I haven't been driving in the night behind other cars before, and I've kind of found it a bit distracting seeing their headlights. So I was used to just relying on my own headlights and the view of the track up ahead, but having lights moving around the track about a second up the road is actually quite distracting, especially when you're trying to pick your braking points and turn into corners. So coming into Parabolica then, are we going to be close enough heading into turn 1 to potentially go for an overtake? We know that we're faster in a straight line, so as long as I can keep relatively close and get a good exit from the last corner, I know I'm going to catch up by the end of the straight, but it doesn't look like I'm quite going to be close enough just yet. But going down here, the kind of the name across the driver ahead, I've just missed my braking point, and you can see I'm going to run too deep. No, definitely not going to make the corner, and I'm going to have to go through the exit road, and this is going to lose me a lot of time to the leader. You can see the Bentley going through there, but he is going a lot faster at this point, so I'm just going to be falling back the whole time until we get to the next corner. Jumping forwards on to lap number 8 then, and as we come out of the first chicane, you can see someone has clearly smashed into one of those polystyrene barriers on the runoff road, and I've caught up to first place now, so we're within a second of the lead once again. And looking at the road, it looks like there is a back marker just ahead, so things could start to get interesting very soon, and we're not too far away from the pit window either. Heading to Ascari then, and we're following much closer to the Bentley than we have been through there on previous laps, and we're right on the back of that back marker now, and you can see the Bentley running out wide, but he's going to pick up a nice tow here from the BMW. The BMW moves over to the right hand side to let us both through, but unfortunately we're just a little bit too far back, and we're going to have to go the long way round through Parabolica. We just caught him at the wrong moment there, unfortunately, and unable to get up right up to the back of the Bentley there. So another opportunity that we could potentially have used to get onto the back of the Bentley and look to make a pass, but just falling back a little bit as we see someone coming out of the pits there, a nice green Lamborghini I think that was. On to the end of lap number 10 then, and we can see the Bentley moving over to the right hand side and entering the pit lane, taking his pit stop on this lap. We've got 1 lap left of fuel, so we're going to be coming in on the next lap, which can mean only one thing: it's hammer time, Lewis. Jumping ahead then as we come through Parabolica, we're pretty much matching our best lap delta then as we peel over to the right hand side down into first gear, make sure we hit the pit limiter in time so we don't get a speeding in the pit lane penalty, and we've done that absolutely perfectly. And now is the bit I absolutely dread every single time I come into the pit lane, and that is making sure we hit our pit box. And once again I've managed to miss it, so that's going to cost quite a bit of time, but we get a good exit from the pit box, making sure we turn the starter and ignition on straight away then. And as we come out of the pit lane, we can see the Bentley just driving past, and there's also GT Jamie, who I think he might have had a drive-through penalty at the start of the race, so he is very out of position down there. So it's another car we're going to have to pass at some point in the near future. So this first lap the tyres are going to be a little bit cold, so we're going to lose more time to the leader, and you can see as we come across the start finish line we're 4 seconds back, 4.1 seconds back now off the lead. So just going to have to get my head down, try to put in some consistent laps. There's still 20 minutes left in this race and anything can happen. Catching up to the back of GT Jamie then, and he gives us a nice tow along the back straight, so rather than slowing us down we actually get a bit of help from having a back marker between us and the leader. And the following lap we come around across the start finish line and we take half a second out of the lead, so down to 3.4 seconds now. If we can keep up this pace and the leader stays at the same pace, then there's a really good chance that we could catch him before the end. So braking very late down into turn 1, and you can see it looks like he might have hit one of the curbs, one of the big sausages, as we go through turn 1, and we're now just 2.3 seconds behind heading up towards the second chicane. So he's clearly pushing hard to try and maintain that lead, but it's always a difficult position to be in when you're in the lead of the race and you can see someone chasing behind. It can be very, very hard to maintain your speed, and you can see he's hit the sausage again and ends up a little bit in the gravel. I kind of get a bit distracted watching the lights up ahead and dip one wheel into the gravel as well, but now we're just a second behind. So 15 minutes left in the race and we're within a second of the leader now. So once again it's going to be difficult coming through the Lesmos, and I didn't get the best exit from there, just losing a little bit of time as we head down towards Ascari. Heading up to the second chicane on lap 17, and the Bentley hits the sausage on the inside and has to avoid the second part of the chicane. Once again I get a bit distracted watching the lights up ahead and end up dipping a wheel into the gravel, so I've lost out there quite a bit. I've really find it hard to maintain focus when something goes on up ahead in these night races, because the lights up ahead are so visible and you just end up following them with your eyes and kind of missing what's on the track in front of you. But onto the back straight then, and we've lost a second or so, so 2.2 seconds behind, but the leader is clearly pushing hard at this stage in the race. So heading towards Ascari once again then, making sure I'm not distracted this time, and it looks like he's flipped himself up on one of the curbs there, and we take the lead of the race. So it's fair to say we've both been making mistakes in this race so far, but this has now given me the lead and a bit of breathing room too. So by the end of the straight it looks like we're going to have around 3 seconds on the car behind. Heading into Parabolica then as we look to start lap number 18, and there's just 11 minutes left in this race to go as we run a little bit wide, getting a bit excited there, but we managed to keep it on the track, and we do cross the line with 3.1 second gap to the car behind. A bit further on in the lap as we head into the second Lesmo, I noticed on the mini-map that one of the cars has spun and is yellowed out, and it looks like it's the Bentley behind, so that's going to give us a massive 12.3 second gap now to second place, and AMS moves up into second, and it looks like the Bentley has completely dropped out of the order, so potentially jump back to the garage, maybe terminal damage there. So it was a great race up until this point, and now all we need to do is just look after the car and bring it home in one piece. As we head to the line then to finish the race, we take the win with AMS coming across the line in second. But the race is not done for tonight, because we now have a 15-minute sprint with the top 3 drivers starting at the back of the field. So we can see the fireworks there as AMS comes along behind us, flashing his headlights as a congratulations, and then we do the same back before heading back to the garage. So confirmation of first place then, 15.9 seconds ahead of AMS, with TK Drifter in probably one of the worst cars on the game, finishing third, so very well done to him. So on to race number 2 then. So this one is a 15-minute sprint, but there's still one mandatory tyre change pit stop required. And like I said, the top 3 drivers are starting at the back of the field. There was a 10-minute qualifying session for the rest of the drivers between race 1 and race 2. And it was GT Jamie who ended up on pole in the Mercedes, with the Bentley from race 1 starting alongside him in P2. Heading up to the line then for the start of the race, and this start is going to be completely different to the previous race. We get the green lights then, and away we go. And what is going to happen as we head down into turn 1? The plan for this one is just to stay out of trouble and see if we can pick up a few positions depending on what happens with everyone else. We can see already there's 2 cars off in the grass, so not sure what's happened there, and it's always getting very, very messy. There's cars all over the place on the outside, and another car that's Hutch in the Bentley out there on the gravel. We've managed to get through, just kicking up a few bits of smashed polystyrene, and looks like we're going to get round GT Jamie then. So GT Jamie, who was the pole sitter for this race, and we've already got past him, and I think that's up into 6th place already as we head down into the second chicane then. Is anyone going to go off here or hit any sausages? Nope, we're all through there quite cleanly. So what a start we've had here, up to P6 already. And it looks like we've got the Bentley making a run for it at the front of the field, and we're just going to have to either try and get through this traffic as quick as possible, but we do have one pit stop to make in this race, so I didn't put too much fuel in the car for this one, and I think what I'm going to do is pit right at the start of lap number 1 and see if I can put some good lap times in with clean air. Now that we've been able to jump quite a few cars behind us, we're probably going to be the first car to pit on lap 1, so should benefit from that clean air. And you can see we might be able to get a move done here as we get onto the back straight then, and we do. We're just able to get past the Audi there of Zally Grace, I think that's how you pronounce it, and it looks like we also have a bit of a run on this Bentley, so breaking up the inside into Parabolica. We're already up to 4th place, but we're going to make our pit stop on this lap and see if we can get ahead of the other cars in front via the pit stop. So down into 1st gear, making sure we hit the limiter just at the right time, praying that I'm going to stop in the right position this time and not lose any time. And we do manage to nail the pit box entry this time and don't lose any time. We can see we're being followed into the pit lane by a number of other cars, including AMS and TK Drifter. So exiting the pit lane then, and we are first of the cars to stop on that first lap then, and we come back onto track in 10th place. So now it's just about trying to put in some good times in clean air, and we come across the line on the first lap then and pass a number of other cars in the pit lane, and that takes us up to 7th place. Then the following lap we pass another car, and that takes us up to 5th place, no 6th place, sorry, quick maths there. And then 2 laps later we come across the start finish line to move up into 3rd place as we pass a number of other cars in the pit lane. And the pace has not been the best, to be honest. I'm definitely losing a few tenths, just trying to push or overdriving the car a little bit and losing a bit of time on the exits of some of the corners. And then we cross the line to begin lap number 6, and the Bentley that was in the lead of the race has come out of the pit lane ahead of us. So the delta is showing 7.4 seconds, but that's coming down all the time. Where is he as we go through turn 1 there? We can see him just exiting the first chicane, but he's going to have to bring his tyres up to pressure and temperature on this first lap, so we're going to have an advantage going through the lap. It looks like it's evened out at about 6 seconds ahead the gap at the moment, so how fast can we catch up to him is probably not going to happen really. Trying to catch up 6 seconds in what is probably going to be a 2 laps to go race, but we'll try our very best. We saw in the previous race that he did tend to make a few mistakes when under pressure, so we'll try to keep the pressure on. As we cross the line then to begin the final lap, we pass Kimmy's dad and move up into 2nd place in the race, so that's confirmation that we are going to finish the race in 2nd if we don't make any mistakes as we head down into turn 1. And I did manage to bring the back gap down to 4.5 seconds as we go round through the final corner, but it was just a bit too much of an ask at this stage in the race. But very, very pleased with a 2nd place and a double podium for tonight's racing. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to take part in one of these races, I'll leave a link in the description to the Discord for Formula Racing League, and you can check out all the races they've got available during the week over there. In my opinion, it's probably the best place to find a competitive race on Assetto Corsa Competizione on PlayStation 5.